Was a cool evening in early autumn, the kind of night when the rain lingers just long enough to leave the streets glistening under the glow of streetlights. The neighborhood was quiet except for the occasional passing car, its headlights casting streaks of silver across the wet pavement. Hannah tugged her olive green jacket closer to her body as she held onto a bright red shopping bag in one hand, and with her other hand, she clutched Daniel's firmly. Daniel looked sharp as always, his beige trench coat buttoned neatly over a dark suit that made him look like he had just walked out of a movie set. There was something about the way he carried himself, calm yet protective, that made Hannah feel safe. She wore a cropped pink top and jeans, casual yet effortlessly striking. Together, they looked like a couple in perfect balance, him polished and refined, her vibrant and full of energy. They had just returned from a long afternoon of shopping downtown. Hannah loved browsing through little boutiques, running her fingers across fabrics, and laughing at Daniel's skeptical expressions when she asked if a jacket or pair of heels looked too much. Daniel, though not a fan of shopping, went along with a quiet patience, carrying bags and stealing moments to watch her smile. He had learned long ago that it wasn't really about the clothes, it was about sharing the time, about being there with her. As they walked along the quiet residential street toward Daniel's house, Hannah glanced at him, her blonde hair falling across her face in the damp breeze. "You know," she said softly, "I don't think I've ever had such a perfect day." Daniel raised a brow, squeezing her hand. "Perfect? We spent half the day stuck in traffic, and then you tried on about 50 pairs of shoes." She laughed, her eyes sparkling. "That's exactly why it was perfect. Because you didn't complain once." He smirked, tilting his head slightly. "Trust me, I was complaining. Just silently." She teased, nudging his shoulder. "Well, I still loved every second of it." Daniel stopped for a moment, glancing down at her. The street lamp behind them created a halo effect around her hair, and for a second he felt like time had slowed. He had known Hannah for nearly 2 years now, but there were still moments, unexpected ones like this, that left him stunned. He thought about how she had walked into his life at the most unexpected time. He had been at a cafe, buried in work emails, when she had bumped into him, literally spilling her coffee onto his laptop bag. Flustered and apologetic, she had insisted on paying for the damage, which of course he didn't allow. Instead, he ended up sharing a table with her while she waited for a new cup, and that 30-minute conversation turned into a dinner, and then into a second dinner, and then into something he couldn't imagine living without. As they continued walking, the sound of tires on wet asphalt echoed behind them. A black car was approaching, its headlights bright in the dim evening. Hannah instinctively moved a little closer to Daniel, and he tightened his grip on her hand. She always felt grounded with him, like no matter what came toward them, he'd stand between her and the storm. "You're thinking about something," she said after a moment, studying his face. He nodded slightly. "I was thinking about how lucky I am." Hannah tilted her head. "Lucky?" "Yeah," Daniel replied. "You crashed into my life when I wasn't even looking for anyone. I was just existing. Work, deadlines, meetings. And then suddenly, you were there. And I started living again." Her smile softened, and she felt her chest tighten in that warm, unexplainable way. She wanted to say something equally profound, but instead, she just whispered, "Me too." The rain had left small puddles scattered along the sidewalks, and Hannah's reflection shimmered in them as she walked. They were passing through one of Daniel's favorite streets. Lined with large houses, each with its own character, some modern and sleek, others old and full of history. He had grown up nearby, and he often imagined what it would be like to one day bring someone special here, to show them the world he had known as a child. Tonight, that dream felt like it was taking shape right in front of him. "Do you ever think about the future?" Hannah asked suddenly, her voice almost hesitant. Daniel looked at her curiously. "Of course. Every day. I mean, us. Where we'll be in, say, 5 years. He smiled, a thoughtful glint in his eyes. "I think about it all the time. Honestly? I see us traveling. Maybe living in a place with a view of the ocean. You'll still spend hours shopping, and I'll still pretend to hate it." She laughed again, the sound like music to him. "And kids?" she asked softly. Daniel didn't hesitate. Yeah. 2. Maybe 3. But definitely a golden retriever first. You love dogs too much not to. Her heart swelled at his answer, because it wasn't just talk, it felt real, like he had truly pictured it. For Hannah, the future had always been blurry, a mix of daydreams and uncertainty. But with Daniel, it felt clear, like a path lit by streetlights on a rainy night. They turned the corner, and Daniel's house came into view. It was a 2-story place with white shutters and a porch that wrapped around the front. The lights inside glowed warmly, a stark contrast to the cool blue of the evening sky. Hannah loved this house, not because of its size or style, but because it felt like him, steady, welcoming, and strong. As they reached the front steps, Daniel set down his shopping bags and pulled Hannah closer. The faint drizzle still clung to her hair, and he brushed a strand away from her cheek. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The world around them faded, the cars, the houses, the damp air, and it was just the two of them, standing in the glow of a porch light. You know, Daniel said softly, his voice almost a whisper. I've been carrying something with me for weeks now. Hannah's eyes widened slightly. Carrying what? He reached into the pocket of his trench coat and pulled out a small velvet box. Her breath caught as he opened it to reveal a delicate ring, its diamond catching the reflection of the streetlight. Hannah froze, her heart racing, her shopping bags forgotten at her side. Daniel took a deep breath, his eyes never leaving hers. I don't need 5 years to know where I want us to be. I don't even need 5 months. Hannah, I've loved you since the day you spilled coffee on me. And I want to spend the rest of my life making every ordinary day with you feel extraordinary. Will you marry me? For a moment, the world seemed to stop. Hannah felt tears sting her eyes as a rush of emotions washed over her, surprise, joy, love so overwhelming it almost hurt. She threw her arms around him, nearly knocking the ring box from his hand. Yes, she whispered against his shoulder. Then louder, with a laugh mixed with tears, yes, Daniel. 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger, his hands trembling slightly, and then pulled her into a kiss that felt like sealing a promise to the universe. The headlights of a passing car swept across them, but they didn't care. The rain, the cold, the night, it all disappeared in the warmth of that moment. When they finally pulled back, Hannah was grinning through her tears. You really carried this ring around all day? While I was dragging you through shoe stores? Daniel chuckled. I was waiting for the right moment. Turns out, every moment with you is the right moment. She shook her head in disbelief, staring at the ring on her finger. I can't believe this is real. It's as real as it gets, he said softly. And it's only the beginning. As they stepped inside, leaving the damp night behind, Hannah felt a sense of certainty she had never known before. The kind that wasn't built on grand gestures or perfect timing, but on the simple, unshakable truth of two people choosing each other every single day. And as the door closed, with the sound of the rain fading outside, Hannah knew with absolute clarity, this was the love story she had always dreamed of. Not a fairy tale, not flawless, but real, raw, and lasting. The night carried on, the city continued its rhythm, but in that warm little house, a promise had been made. A promise that would carry them through the storms, the traffic, the shopping trips, and the years ahead, together.